So let's start with our today's session. We'll continue from where we had left. Chapter 6. um, Supreme welfare work. Oh no, this is done. Declaring our dependence on God. This also we did. Peace formula.
So it is spiritual communism.
Spiritual communism. Okay. So we have dialogue between Srila Prabhupada and Professor Kotovsky. Kotovsky. Okay. So I need someone to read what Srila Prabhupada is saying, and I need someone to read what Professor Kotovsky is saying. Okay. Let's start. Srila Prabhupada. Someone volunteer?
Yes, Prabhu.
Go ahead.
Srila Prabhupada. The other day, I was reading the paper, Moscow News. There was a communist congress, and the president declared, "We are ready to take others' experience to improve." So, I think the Vedic concept of socialism or communism will much improve the idea of communism. For example, in a socialistic state, the idea is that no one should starve. Everyone must have his food. Similarly, in the Vedic concept of grihastha, householder life, it is recommended that a householder see that even a lizard or a snake living in his house should not starve. Even these lower creatures should be given food, and certainly all humans should. It is recommended that the grihastha, before taking his lunch, stand on the road and declare, "If anyone is still hungry, please come, food is ready." If there is no response, then the proprietor of the household takes his lunch. Modern society takes the people as a whole as the proprietor of a certain state, but the Vedic conception is Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Everything is owned by Isha, the supreme controller. Tena taktena bunjitaha. You may enjoy what is allotted to you by him. Ma gridah kasyasvit dhanamaha. But do not encroach upon others' property. This is the Ishopanishad Veda. The same idea is explained in the different Puranas. There are many good concepts in the Vedic literature about communism. So I thought that these ideas should be distributed to your most thoughtful men. Therefore, I was anxious to speak.
Uh, who is reading Professor Kotovsky? Anyone? No one? Okay, I will read
I'll
what.
read.
It
I'll read.
is
Acha,
Okay,
okay.
okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Whoever. Go ahead.
It is interesting that here in our country there is now great interest in the history of old thought. From this point of view, our institute translated into Russian and published many literary monuments of great Indian culture. You will be interested to discover that we published some of the Puranas and parts of the Ramayana. There are volumes of Russians of Mahabharata and also a second edition of Mahabharata translated in full. We have also published the full translation of Manusmriti with Sanskrit commentaries. Interest in these publications was so great that they sold out in a week. They are now completely out of stock. It was impossible to get them in the book market after a month. This is great interest among reading people here in Moscow and the USSR toward ancient Vedic culture, and from this point of view, we published many such books.
Go ahead.
Among these Puranas, the Srimad Bhagavatam is called the Mahapurana.
Mahapurana.
Yes, we have translated the full text. First, we present the original Sanskrit text, its translation, the English equivalent for each word, then the translation, and then a purport or explanation of the verse. In this way, there are 18,000 verses in Srimad Bhagavatam. We are translating everything literally. You can see each and every verse is being done like that for the whole Bhagavata Purana. The opinion of the Acharyas, the great saintly sages who are the preachers of the Bhagavata philosophy, is Nigama Kalpataro Galitam Phalam. This is the ripened fruit of the Vedic desire tree, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3. It is accepted by all the Indian scholars, and Lord Chaitanya especially preached this Bhagavatam. So we have the complete Bhagavatam in its English translation. If you want to see it, I can show you.
Yeah, go ahead reading.
It seems to me that in the Moscow and Leningrad libraries, we have nearly all the major texts of ancient Indian culture, beginning from the Vedas, the original texts in Sanskrit. For instance, in the Leningrad branch of our institute, there are 6 or 8 editions of Manusmriti. This institute was found in Imperial Russia in Leningrad. So, in Leningrad, we now have a branch of our institute dealing mainly with the history of Asiatic culture. You will find here an account of what is being translated and what studies are being done on the history of Indian religion and also the state of Indian religion, Hinduism, in Hindu India today.
Hinduism is a very complex topic.
Oh, yes. Really, to my understanding, it is not a religion. From the European point of view, it is a way of life. Religion, philosophy, a way of life, whatever you want.
This word Hindu is not a Sanskrit word. It was given by the Mohammedans. You know that there is a river Indus, which in Sanskrit is called Sindhu. The Mohammedans pronounced Sa as S as H. Instead of Sindhu, they made it Hindu. So, Hindu is a term that is not found in Sanskrit dictionary, but it has come into use. But the real cultural institution is called Varnashrama. There are 4 Varnash social divisions: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, and 4 Ashramas spiritual divisions: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, uh, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. According to the Vedic concept of life, unless people take to this system or institution of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas, actually they do not become civilized human beings. One has to take this process of 4 divisions of social orders and 4 divisions of spiritual orders, that is called Varnashrama. India's culture is based on this age old Vedic system.
Yeah, just stop. So, one thing I want to point out here is that uh, Professor Kotoski is talking about religion and all that, right? Now, Prabhupada says, according to the Vedic concept, unless people take to the system of institution of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas, actually they do not become civilized human beings. So, the purpose of the Vedic or the Vedas to get all the people in 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas is not to give them a term or a religious terminology. What is the aim? The aim is to become civilized human being. Civilized human beings mean one who is civil in sense they are controlling themselves in controlling in sense controlling their exploitative desires, excessiveness, and focusing on what that is really substance in life. It's focusing on being truthful, honest, how to be charitable to everyone, how to be helpful to everyone. This is all civil society. Na? Civil society is where everyone follows the laws, everyone is, caring and loving and sharing with others, right? So this is a civil society. Uncivilized society is what? Animal society, right? If the animal gets some meat to eat, you will see that there will be 10 more other animals fighting for it. So we'll call it uncivilized. But if a human being gets grains, what he will do, he will distribute it. In a civilized society, he will distribute it. He will keep what he requires and rest he will distribute. This is the socialism or the communism in the Vedic literature. Okay, yeah. And another word, technical word, is Sanatana Dharma, which is same as Varnashrama Dharma, Sanatana Dharma. So the word Hinduism doesn't really exist in the Sanskrit dictionary. It is a word, like Prabhupada explained, given by those who lived on the other side of the river Sindhu. Let's see, on the other side of the river Sindhu, and that's how the word Hinduism came. The Hindus, instead of saying Sindhus, the Sindhus are remaining there. They started saying Hindus are remaining there, and that's how Britishers also caught it. They also said that the Hindus are living there, and the word Hindu is now a common word. But actually, it is Sanatana Dharma, or Prabhupada here is saying Varnashrama system. So, aim is what? Varnashrama system is not to give a designation. You're a Hindu or whatever. No. What it is? Civilized human being. Civilized human being. To be a wise person. To be a person who is who's having integrity, morality, ethical. Okay, not animal civilization. So that is the aim. Okay, go ahead, Professor Kotowski. Varnashram.
Varnashrama.
Varnashrama. And in the Bhagavad Gita, perhaps you have read the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
There is Bhagavad Gita 4.13 is the statement Chaturvarnam Mayas Shrutam. This system was created by Vishnu, God. So, since Varnashrama is a creation of the Supreme, it cannot be changed. It is prevalent everywhere. It is like the sun. The sun is a creation of the Supreme. The sunshine is there in America, in Russia, and in India, everywhere. Similarly, this Varnashrama system is prevalent everywhere in some form or another. Take, for example, the Brahmanas, the most intelligent class of men. They are the brains of the society. The Kshatriyas are the administrative class. Then the Vaishyas are the productive class. And the Shudras are the worker class. These four classes of men are prevalent everywhere under different names because it is created by the original creator. So it is prevalent everywhere. Varnashrama Dharma.
It is interesting that, in the opinion of some European and old Russian scholars, this Varnashrama system is a later creation. And if you would read the old texts of Vedic literature, you would find a much more simple and agrarian society. It is the opinion of these scholars that the Varnashrama system was introduced in Indian society in the late age of the Vedic era, but not from the beginning. And if you would analyze the old texts, you will find that in the old classical India, it was not so prevalent.
As far as we are concerned, it is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnam Maya Sristam, Bhagavad Gita 4.13. The Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5,000 years ago, and in the Bhagavad Gita it is said, this system of the Bhagavad Gita was spoken by me to the sun god. So, if you take an estimation of that period, it comes to 40 million years ago. Can the European scholars trace back history 5,000 years? Can they go back 40 million years? We have evidence that this Varnashrama system has been current at least 5,000 years. The Varnashrama system is also mentioned in the Vishnu Purana 3.8.9. Varnashrama Charvata Purushena Parah Puman. That is stated in the Vishnu Purana. Varnashrama Dharma is not a phenomenon of a historical period calculated in the modern age. It is natural. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the comparison is given that just as in the body there are four divisions, the brain division, the arms division, the belly division, and the leg division. So, by nature's way, these four divisions are existing in the social body. There exists a class of men who are considered the brain, a class of men who are considered the arms of the state, a class of men who are called the productive class, and so on. There is no need of tracing history. It is naturally existing from the day of creation.
Yeah, just stop. So, Professor Koteski is a professor. So, in the academic world, na, whenever they look at a text, whatever text it may be, literature text or religious text, they always try to date it. This came at this particular date. So, Prabhupada is saying, then Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5,000 years ago, and within Bhagavad Gita says that Krishna said this to Sun God. He says this in fourth chapter. We'll just go there for a minute. I think fifth or fourth text, maybe a text previous to that. Yeah. Mm. The very first text, Krishna says, I instructed this particular Bhagavad Gita knowledge to Sun God Vivaswan. Vivaswan instructed to Manu, the father of mankind, and the name, man that comes. And Manu instructed to his son Ikshvaku. And that's how the knowledge has been transferred. And so this is in Bhagavad Gita itself, we find the history, how it is traced. So first, this war of Mahabharata is happening 5,000 years ago. 5,000. Plus, he said, I gave it to Sun God. Now, in the purport, Prabhupada starts giving, calculations with actual numbers. He says 5,000 years of Kali Yuga has happened. Before that, that was Dwapar Yuga, 8,000 years ago, 800,000. Then Treta Yuga, 1.2 or 1,200,000. Thus, some 2 million years have been passed, and Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Manu spoke this to his son. Then the age of the current Manu is calculated as 305 million years, and of which 120 million years have passed. Accepting that, so it comes out to really spoken 120 million years ago, and in the human society, it is extant for 2 million years ago. So this is how we calculate. The Vedic scholars calculate the years, but the academic scholars, right? They have a very different way of calculation. They will calculate, okay, this particular text came from this particular time period, that particular time period, and what came the oldest, that is the oldest. They won't go beyond that. So therefore, Prabhupada says, can you trace history 5,000 years ago? Can you trace history beyond that? So there's a flaw in their way of dating, Vedic events, Vedic texts, and all that. And there are many controversies on this. Like someone said, Ramayana happened 7,000 years ago. No, it's not like that. It happened much more. If I actually show you. Brahma. So on the right hand side, if you see, this is life of Brahma. So he lives for almost like let's see if we can. Okay, now this is big enough. We can make it a little more. Okay, so this is the timeline or the age of Earth, the age of Brahma. So he's living almost like 311 trillion man years. That is almost like 36 kalpas. So let's go to the below point. Below line, the last line. So there are four yugas: Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga, right? 1.7 million years, 1.2 million years, 86400 thousand years, and 432. Half, 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 half. So this is one Divya Yuga, and such things 71 Divya Yugas happen. That happens in one uh, is that happens in one is that Sandhya? Yeah, between two Sandhyas, that is the thing, and there are 14 Manvantaras. There are 14 Manus that come in the day of Brahma. So in one day of one day of Manu, sorry, in one duration of Manu that he lives for 306 million years. Okay, and such 306 million years happened 14 times in the day of Brahma, and equally in the night of Brahma. But in the night of Brahma, nothing happens because he's sleeping, and that is one day of Brahma, and like that he has 100 years equal to 36 thousand kalpas. Kalpa is one day of Brahma, like this. So this is the uh, what to say, the how the Vedic time is explained. Any question on this? Any question? Okay. And so one thing, um, the, especially when Varnashram system is talked about, there is a picture shown where the Brahmanas are shown as the brain, where the whole Varnashram system is shown as the human body. Okay, and the Brahmana is shown as the brain, the head. The Vaishyas are shown as the belly, and the Shudras shown as the leg, and the Kshatriyas are shown as the arm. Okay, so that's the how the traditionally Vedas they describe. Now looking at this, modern thinkers think that because the Shudras are given the leg position, so therefore they are inferior. नीरज राठौर के हस्बैंड को सडनली can you mute anybody who has Haribol, just mute. Someone talking, mute please. Okay. So I have a question for you. Modern thinkers, they say that Shudras are given a lower position. Shudras are given a lower position. Is that so, or what is the understanding? Any comment? See, we have the human body, of which the let's say the head. We need to understand this, very important, because modern thinkers they see this as a discriminatory thing. Hands are Kshatriyas, belly is Vaishyas, and legs is are depicted as Shudras. Are Shudras given lower position?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Prabhuji,
tell me.
according to this, no, because on the legs, all three are balancing, right? If
Okay,
we with the human body example.
okay, 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 okay. Think more about it. Think more about it. You're on the right track. You should give more convincing answer. Let me put one more word. Inferior. So therefore, they can be downcasted. They can be thrown away. Now think more about it. It's very simple. You just need to tax your brain a little bit.
Prabhuji, everybody has a role to play, right?
Okay, good, good.
One,
Yeah, think more.
one part of this is not, it's not like playing the role properly, then others will be shaken.
Yes, good. So if they say this is lower and inferior, then we can cut the legs, right? Right?
Yeah.
So is that so? Is like a human body, we can just cut the legs. Hey, it's not required. That's what is Varnashram system saying. Oh, it's leg, just cut it off. We don't require it. Legs have their own importance, right? They're part, the homogeneous part of the body, and they are cooperating. Okay, they are parts of the body. You cannot be thrown away, right? Or cut. Okay, what they have to do, they have to cooperate. Now, if the legs want to eat food, can it eat food? No. It has to put the food, it has to bring the food, means it has to walk the food. I mean, it has to walk towards the food, and then the Kshatriya, the hands will take the food and put it in the belly. The belly will digest it, and then it will provide energy to the legs. And that's how the legs eat. But if the legs protest, no, we want to be, we want to eat, then they cannot eat it, right? The It's a part of that machine. It's a part of that body, the way it functions. So they are not given lower position. I mean, you cannot say my legs are lower, so I can just cut it off. No, they are very important. Without that, I cannot walk. Okay. Now, why do you think the Brahmanas are given the head position? Another question, the head. See, we can have the legs cut, we can have the hands cut, and the belly tied. But if the head is cut, then what happens? If a human body head is cut, then what will happen?
He'll die.
He'll die, na? So why the Brahmanas given the head position?
They are there to give the right direction.
What kind of direction?
What is correct, what is wrong, what decisions have to be made when.
Good. Right direction. Both in terms of material and spiritual. Simple words, in material and spiritual um, progress. They have it. So therefore they are given the head. So in a society, head is very important, na? Head is very important. What is the head? Who's the intelligent? Who's the leader of the society? These are very, very important, right? Because they set the example, they set the direction where the society is going, right? So, does this help in understanding that it's actually not a lower or inferior position? The most important thing is cooperating. Another word is harmonizing. Hmm? Harmonizing is all these beings are cooperating, and when all of that cooperates, then the human body functions nicely. Similarly, the varnashram body functions nicely when all of these four things are there and they're cooperating in the direction that the Brahmana has set. See, interestingly, the Kshatriya is not the head. Kshatriyas are the hands. The heads are the Brahmanas. What happens if the Kshatriya is head? Give me a modern example. What happens if the Kshatriya goes as a head? It's a very interesting way to think. If Kshatriya becomes head, what is the phenomenon? One word. I just need one word. If the Vaishyas become head, what is the phenomenon? And if the Shudras become head, what do we see? So give me an example where, say, a Kshatriya, who's a very administrative guy, he becomes a head. He's directing everything now. What do we call in modern terms? There's only one word for it. Complete the word. If you're looking at.
Dictator.
Yeah, dictatorship. And what happens when a dictator is there? It's brutal. It's punishing. All he knows is just punishing, right? Exploiting, abuse. Actually, abuse is more better because they abuse like anything. And we have so many examples. If you go into history, right, all these countries, they are destroyed because of the dictators. Okay, now if a Vaishya becomes head, what is the one word? What does Vaishyas do? Business, money. So if they become the head, what? They become what? Let's put it like this: exploitative capitalist. Right? What they will do? They'll just run after money. They will show symptoms of greed. They'll show symptoms of exploitation of resources. And how they will look at men? How do capitalists or industrialists, they look at men? They look at workers, those who work in company. There is a meeting. There's a meeting set by the CEO of the company. What is that meeting called? Anyone? All hands meeting. Have you heard?
All hands meeting.
Yeah. Is it all hands meeting or all personal meeting? People are coming, humans are coming, but how capitalistic? Oh, they are just hands. Right? If the hands get cut, then here is your insurance policy, go away. This is how they think. Agreed? So for them it will be like all hands only. Now if Shudra becomes head, what what do you think? What is the word? Shudra, I'm also thinking, dictator went, capitalist went. Now Shudra becomes a head. So he will show there's a, I'm not getting the word, but he will show, uh, so okay. So Shudra is only working. Oh, okay. Yeah. So there are countries, just work and die. Right? Work, or let's put it workaholic. Which country do you think that is workaholic?
China.
China, and another one next to it. It's surrounded by sea. It's very small country, but
Korea,
that is,
Japan,
huh?
Japan.
Yeah. Japan is so workaholic. They will work from morning to night, and they will work for their whole life till they die, and they'll be so much obsessed with work that um, they will commit suicides. Too much of work, and there's a particular word that they have coined for that. I'm not remembering that word. Kureishi, something like that. So so you can see what is the problem now. uh, when Brahmana is head, what is the word we will use? Brahmana is head. We want Brahmana to be head. So what is the technical Vedic word? Rishi, sadhu. And now how will be the thought process? Kshatriya, you want to administer, you want to be protective, you only do that much. You want to fight, I know that, but you fight against evil. So Brahmana will direct like this to Kshatriya. Your job is what? Protect the weak from the evil, and protect the dharmic principles, protect the dharmic rituals, protect the dharmic society, and then the Vaishyas. Hey, you want to make money, you do agriculture, cow protection, and pay tax to the Kshatriyas, distribute this wealth. And Shudras, you want to just work. Okay, you work for these Vaishyas, you work for the Kshatriyas, you work for us. We have so many work to be given. In that, you will be engaged. And the Brahmanas make sure that the spiritual atmosphere is created. Not just material atmosphere, but spiritual atmosphere is created. And when the king becomes a sadhu, what is the word, technical word used? King becomes sadhu.
Rajrishi.
Rajrishi, right? So Arjuna, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Rajrishi. So many examples. You can just take it. But even these Rajrishis, even though they are Rishi, what will they do? They will still go to the Brahmanas and they'll still consult. Am I doing this good? This is what I think we should do. Am I doing this good? So when Parikshit Maharaj was cursed, he uh, he was to live 7 days, 7 nights. That's it. Uh, then he gave up everything and he said, "Now I want to just remember Krishna." And then he went to the bank of Ganga, where all the Rishi Munis were there, and he kept asking to them, "Am I doing this right? What is the best thing to do?" And all of them saw that this personality is great. He needs a greater personality than him to instruct him, and they felt themselves unqualified. So therefore, even though they knew knowledge, they could have said, the way the Vedic culture is that if you see someone senior by birth, okay, senior by age, or senior by knowledge, then even if you know the knowledge, you may not give it. You will tell him, you will direct that person to um, someone greater than you. Okay, so the sadhu said that here comes the son of Vyasadev, who is perfect in all knowledge. His name is Sukdev Goswami. You ask your question and discuss with him. So yeah, such a king was Parikshit Maharaj that even the sadhus felt that they cannot instruct this person. He's such a nice person. So sometimes some kids are there. They are so good in maths, and you may send them to some teacher who may be ME, masters in maths, but they will say he should learn from the Olympiads or he should learn from the PhD. Why? Because he can teach, but he said there he will get much more advancement. You get this point? Okay. So we discussed quite a lot. Any questions, comments?
Prabhu,
Yeah.
so one person can have even Brahmanical qualities and Kshatriya qualities both also, right?
Uh, yes.
But it can be prominent, but it can be combination of two people. Then,
Not two people.
matlab two qualities of Brahminical and Kshatriya qualities. Then in that case,
See,
how
there will
will
be
we?
some. Uh, see, there are two things to understand here. In 18th chapter Bhagavad Gita, I'm pointing out here. There are these primary qualities of Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Shudra. Okay. Now, when someone becomes more purer, then the mode of goodness will increase in him.
Right.
Yeah. And when mode of goodness increases, then the Brahmana qualities will start coming in him.
Hmm.
So there are two things to understand. One is the type of work that he's doing,
Hmm.
that will put him into the category of Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmana, right? But
Hmm.
if his internal consciousness is getting purified and
Hmm.
he's increasing mode of goodness, then basically even in the Shudra work, he will be getting mode of goodness and he'll be more than a Brahmana. So that is Vaishnavism. Therefore, in
Okay.
our Vaishnavism, there's so many saints who were, um, we have here Holy Dham, Pandharpur, right? So there are
Hmm.
many Vaishnav saints who were pottery. So all this is Shudra work only. One person was cutting hair. One pure devotee. He was cut. His job was to cut hair. Other one was to stitch shoes. But they became so pure in devotion that these external terminologies don't matter to them. They have transcended that. Okay, so both considerations you have to take. The type of work that they are doing, and second thing is the quality, not quality of work, the 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 quality of their nature, whether in what mode it is, a mode of goodness, mode of ignorance, or mode of passion. So that then changes the definition and they become more Brahmana, even if they are doing Kshatriya work or Shudra work or Vaishya work. Does that help?
Yes, Prabhu. It
Yeah.
it does.
So
Thanks.
so Vaishnavas, na, they may be in any of the four category,
Hmm.
but they are not considered, oh, you are a Vaishya Shudra, not like that. Vaishnavas are beyond Brahmanas also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matlab, Vaishnavas are beyond Varna ashram.
No. Vaishnavas will follow Varnashram system,
Hmm.
okay, and they may have this designation of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra,
Hmm.
but by the consciousness, they will be in, like, if you see these qualities: peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are
Hmm.
natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work, but they will have
Right.
these qualities.
Hmm.
Okay, and they may do farming or cow protection or business, but they may have this peaceful self, these qualities. So then for external reason they are Vaishyas, but for internal reasons they are having Brahmanical qualities. Aisa. So externally how and internally how. Hmm?
Got it, Prabhu.
Yeah, so Vaishnavas are like that. Okay, so let's get back to Mr. Professor Kotowski.
You have said that in any society there are four divisions, but they are not so easy to distinguish. For instance, one can group together different social classes and professional groups into four divisions in any society. There is no difficulty. The only difficulty is, for instance, in the socialistic society in our country and other socialist society, how you can distinguish the productive group from the workers.
Just hold. In North Korea, they have actually divided the people in this 4 or 3 categories. That this is the intellectual class, this is the worker class, this is the business class, something like that. They have done that, and there are flaws in that because it is not Vedic way. Okay, what has happened is only these will be intellectuals, only these will be workers. So if some intellectual comes out in a worker, they won't recognize him. So so it's a what to say, not a very good way they have done it. But then every society does that, every country does that. They know that there are thinkers, and then in the education system the thinkers will be directed in, something like this. Then there are those who want to do administration, those who want to be in politics and all that. Then they have been directed in giving some exams and all that, and then you qualify for that role. Then there are those who just want to fight. Then they show bravery, courage. Then they are told you give exams in army and all that and join there. Then there are shudras like us who want to do coding, fabrication job, some mechanical job, some this that. So then we are directed in engineering colleges. So my point is, these are happening behind the scenes. They are happening, but they don't have particular names for it, and they do exist. In the Varnashram system, it was very, very specific: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and it was not according to birth. There is a very interesting way to understand this thing. Krishna says, according to the qualities you have, not according to the birth. So the issue comes that, uh, right now, some Brahmanas, they say that, my son or my daughter born in my Brahmanical family is also a Brahmana. They say like that, right? That is the issue. So how can they solve this issue? If I ask you this question, someone says, hey, I am a Brahmana by birth. Here is my Janava thread, and I can give this to my son. He also become Brahmana. And we come and we say our philosophy, and our philosophy says no, it's not like that. It's according to qualities. So now, how do we correct this situation? Is there a solution for this? Can it be corrected? Okay, let me ask you this question. In the call, there are engineers, right? Mostly they are engineers. If you have a son or daughter and you say my son is also engineer, and I say no, 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 he's not engineer. Now how we can correct the situation? How we can still say, okay, my son is an engineer?
Maybe showing by his degree.
So basically he has to train him, right?
Right.
Yeah. So similarly, in a Brahmanical family, if the Brahmana trains the children in Brahmanical way, then he can say they're Brahmanas, right?
Prabhu, is it not judgment, putting Brahmanas on the top and Vaishya? All this is not judgment.
Okay, okay. You joined late, I think.
Acha, yeah.
Okay,
Just
okay. We
actually,
had that discussion and we'll go back for your.
okay, no problem. We don't waste everybody's. We can,
No, yeah. I'll just tell
acha.
you in short. So we discussed.
Yeah, this,
Huh,
yeah, this we discussed.
yeah. So this judgment thing, right? We need to understand what exactly, why human body. If it is judgmental, then let's cut the leg off, no? If it is judgmental, let's cut the leg. But we cannot cut the leg. Why? We know it is important. So then what is the principle? The principle is cooperation. The principle is harmonizing. The principle is never competition. Okay, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra are to cooperate with each other so that the Varnashram system, so that the human body, so that the society works properly. It is never competition. This is an interesting question.
Got
Yeah, it
it.
is
Got
never
it.
for competition. It is always for cooperation. Now, let me give you another example. 12th standard ranks come. Suddenly news comes. Girls are topping, boys are less this time. How they project it? Competition. But is it competition? No, it has to be cooperation. Okay. In marriage, the husband and wife, do they have to cooperate or compete with each other?
Cooperate.
Cooperate, right? So now, if I say in a marriage, the husband is the what to say, the prime minister and the wife is the home minister. Now we know that the prime minister is higher and home minister is lower. Then somebody will say, hey, this is injustice. Lower position you are giving to wife. Is that so? Is that the way the government positions are given? Prime minister, home minister. Is it a lower position or what it is? It is for cooperation, right? So if we cooperate, the whole government works nicely. But if the prime minister and the home ministry they are fighting with each other, then what happens? We are seeing this, right? The central government and the state government they fight with each other. So do they have to compete? No, they have to cooperate. And when they cooperate, what will happen? There will be prosperity, there will be peace, there will be happiness. Similarly, in married life, we have to do cooperation, not competition. Where you need help, I will try to help you. Where I need help, you help me. We will do this thing together. Cooperation. This is very simple. See, why do we say, he's my friend, we are a team? Why? Because we all want to cooperate and do something, right? We want to together do it. And then we say we are a team. Similarly, in married life also, it's like that. We should think it like that. Then it becomes very easy. What happens is people divorce and then they say we will be friend afterwards also. Well, you have to be friend within marriage, not outside marriage. So that is where they all forget that it's a cooperation in that will make the marriage successful. And in cooperation, whatever is needed, kindness is needed, skills are required, complementary things are required. Sometimes similar skills will be there. So all these things we see and we see how can we cooperate and do things together, right? So then it becomes successful. So the aim is cooperation. It is never competition. It is harmonizing all these things together. Okay, this is a very very important concept, and this analogy can be applied to various other things, even to marriage, even to our team at our local temple or at our company. It is always cooperation. It is never for competition. But what happens is today Kali Yuga is like competition. कुछ भी हो गया competition. Women are different, competition. No, it's cooperation. Okay. We'll take 5 more minutes. We started a little late. We can go 5 more minutes, or should we stop here?
We can go, Prabhuji.
Okay. Start reading, Srila Prabhupada.
For example, we belong to the intellectual class of men. This is a division.
Intelligent class, Brahmanas, and you can also put together all the intelligentsia in that department.
Yes.
And then the administrative class.
Yes.
But who are the Vaishyas and Sudras? That is the difficulty because all others are workers' factory, workers, collective farm workers, and so on. So, from this point of view, there is a great distinction, in my opinion, between socialist society and all societies preceding socialism. Because in modern Western society, you can group all social and professional classes in these particular class divisions: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras. Intellectuals, productive class, owners of the productive system, factory owners, for instance, and menial workers. But here, you have no Vaishyas because you have administrative staffs in factories and you can call them Kshatriyas. And then there are the Sudras, the workers themselves, but no intermediate class.
Just stop. You can see, how Professor Kotoski, he's getting that idea, but still he's not ready to accept Vaishya. For him, Vaishya means he immediately understood, oh, these are the business class. Okay, these are capitalists. Now he's from Russia, and they have thrown away capitalists. They are socialist. This is at that point. So then he's not able to grasp that thing, right? So he's struggling with that. He's saying, oh, there are no Vaishyas. He calls this owners of productive system, but he doesn't call them as Vaishyas. And then he's confused with Shudras also. Why? Because the power should be with the people. So then these are conflicting with his own ideas of communism. Getting? So I was giving this example of North Korea. So it's very conflicting how to do this thing. But if they get the right knowledge of Varnashram system, then they can do. For that, they have to have Brahmana. That is very important. Now, the simple word in English is intellectual, but Brahmana has a very see the way Brahmana is written, the way Krishna says Brahmana is like this: peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the qualities. And do you think today's intellectuals have these qualities? No, they don't have these qualities. So that's why we find that the intellectuals are not very satisfied. Okay, so let's open up for some questions. We can continue tomorrow with this Srila Prabhupada, Kaloshad. This is different. So we can stop here now. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments?
No problem.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. Let me